BigH Trucking, coming to you from the same place I was 24 hours ago. TA in Seattle. Well, it was an interesting morning. As I went to the address listed on the bills, I was listed in the Qualcomm, sat there for 3 hours, checked in, gave the PO number, get a call like about 3 hours later. And they said, okay, we're ready for you. And he goes, and I go, what side of the building are you on? Are you on the entrance side or the exit side? He goes, what are you talking about? Well, I said, I'm sitting in a spot for the last 3 hours waiting for you guys to call me and give me a door. He's like, oh, you must be in the Auburn facility. I said, yes, sir, that's where I'm at. He's like, well, you got to come to the other location. That's in downtown Seattle. I tell you what, I've been to a lot of cities in my life, and I get they're all condensed and they're all, but whoever designed Seattle is really needs to be punished severely. And if anybody's been to Seattle, they can relate to what I'm talking about. Especially down there by the water. It's an absolute filled with one-ways and small islands and cut acrosses and so on and so forth. So I get there. Took me about an hour and a half. It was only 15 miles, but the traffic was kind of sketchy, to say the least. This was like 9 o'clock in the morning. And I let him know that I was there. He's like, well, I got a guy in front of you. And because the same guy beat me down there. He did the same exact thing. He went to the Auburn facility. And he goes, I hate to say this, but, it tends to happen quite frequently, which is not good. So whoever gives the information for the billing doesn't know. He's like, all the frozen stuff come here and the other produce and stuff go there. But that was just the beginning of my adventure, because it's the first time that I actually had to back off a street and literally parked on the street in the door where there was enough room for one vehicle to get by. And I go, this is normal? He's like, every day, all day. Holy cow. Now, the backing was challenging. However, what was even more challenging was the fact that the traffic was absolutely stifling, and you had to do it. You had to commit. And because it made me nervous, I don't want to hit nobody, right? Because guys are trying. Literally, I'm in my sight side back. I look in my mirror, and there's a guy that's coming around me. Had I not seen it, I more than likely, 100% fact, I would have crunched him. So now I've got to deal with that, because nobody wants to wait in traffic and hold up for a truck who's back, and people got to run. I mean, that's just the way it is. I'm guilty of that too when I'm a passenger. It's before trucking. So tooting horns, blah blah blah. Pull up. Nope, missed the door. And there's no room to really pull up. You've got to land it right on the mark. Otherwise, there's no, if you're off a couple of feet, you can pull up, and there was none of that. You had to go back out to the turn. Now, I did take video of it. Somehow, going through the videos, it's gone. So I have no proof of this. But I did it. Again, it wasn't prettiest back. This is like going into Midtown Manhattan or any other city where the dock doors are literally facing the street and you got to back in. Except that the traffic was absolutely mind-boggling. And every time I missed the door by a couple of feet, I had to start over, pull back out, let a flow of traffic go by. Nobody's helping me. Now there's 3 truck drivers. sitting there and watching this whole thing unfold. And you think one guy would come out, not to help me back, but to corral the traffic a little bit? Nobody. So the rudeness and the inconsideration spans coast to coast, north to south, east to west. No matter where I go, it's just no consideration. And I'm not an angel, but let me tell you something. If I see somebody struggling, that's taking a few more attempts, I'm going to get out there and help the person get back in. I've done it numerous times. So, pull up once, gotta go do it again. Traffic, dude, off white. Now I'm cockeyed. Nope, gotta pull out, do it again. It must have taken me 8 attempts to get back in that door. Because there's no pulling up. You either hit it dead on the mark or you don't. And there weren't semis. They were the small box truck, refrigerated box trucks are on either side. And of course the white lines are not visible. The place is older than time. It was definitely something made for the 48 trucks, not 53 trucks. But you know what? As he said, others do it all day. And that's where I kind of have been thinking about, because I watched and here my point is on this. Local drivers are the best backers in trucking, no questions asked. I watched a guy who works there, day cab, 53-foot trailer, nail it. Took like 5 seconds. It literally was one of the most impressive backs under pressure in a tight area that I've seen in a long time. And you know, I started thinking, like, how many stops has this guy got to make in Seattle every day, delivering to corner stores, mom and pop stores, busy roadways where you got to double park and unload. I mean, I really do. Those guys do not get paid. Those guys and gals, excuse me, do not get paid enough money to do what they do. They don't. And so I really do. Gave me a much higher respect for the local drivers today after enduring that. Because, you know, let's think about it this way. OTR drivers, how many times do we really back? You know, I just backed into a truck stop. Big deal. I have all the room in the front to do a straight back. But how many times do we have really difficult backs? Think about it. I mean, you go to a Walmart, it's basically a joke. Costco's are a joke. Yeah, once in a while we get like a Mike's Meats or something like that. This took the cream. This was the hardest area, I should say, not the hardest back, but the hardest area to back into in my trucking career. And you know what? It's cool. You know, it's as I say time to time, I enjoy the challenge. It just makes me a better backer, and on top of that, it makes me realize how important it is to have patience. Because if you don't have patience, you may wreck something. You know, I've done it. I've hit a trailer. You know, I'm guilty of tapping something because I'm in a rush, because there's people and it's putting pressure on me. Forget about that. You know, I took it out of my mind. I said, you know what? It's going to be what it's going to be. I can't do it. I can't force the traffic to do what they need to do, which is, you know, give me room and give me a couple minutes to get in there. I just can't. I can't force them to do that. Just like the guy I said decided to pass me on the right as I was basically getting ready to go into the trailer. I mean, again, thank God for my peripheral and me looking in that mirror, seeing he was coming. You know, like I'm watching this gal back into this spot. She's doing it right. She's taking her time. There's nobody around her. But I'll tell you what. She's got it. Good for her. Anyway, I don't want to sit here and waste time on the video. But, yeah, again, appreciation for the local drivers that do 20, 30 backs a day. Possibly, I don't know everybody's route, but they back a lot more often than OTR drivers. Much respect. Second thing is I push my PTA out for tomorrow morning. I need to do laundry and I need to get some time back because I'm only working with 6 hours. I only get back 3.5 hours tonight. So that leaves me with approximately 9 and change. So, and then on top of that, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and the weather for the next 5 days across the middle part of the country, even as far as Los Angeles, they're calling for snow in Los Angeles. Maybe not exactly downtown, but in the suburb of LA, they're talking about snow. So there's these storms rolling in, going down the coast, all the way down through California, setting up and going back up to the top. I think the worst hit's going to be in Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Minneapolis or Minnesota on forward with the freezing rain in the Illinois, Indiana, Ohio part of it. It's just going to be a mess. So this is what I got to contend with for the next few days. And that's my story. And I'm going to stick to it. 11 minutes of blabbing. But again, the moral of the story was local drivers rock, man. Local drivers rock. Later, man.